It's been a long time since I've made a longer video, so I was inspired because I recently saw a photo on Instagram of Robert Plant from probably 50 years ago with that long, gorgeous hair in tight, tight jeans, sitting with his legs apart, leaving absolutely nothing to the imagination. Cool me down now. But the photo reminded me that I wrote something for my Substack last summer about pants, a little bit about jeans and denim wearing stars and how wearing denim really used to be like an anti-authoritarian statement. Think James Dean and Marlon Brando. Now everyone wears jeans, so they're not a big deal anymore. But they were a long time ago. When jeans were a fashion and political statement, the cut and the color of the denim were key. Also the brand and sometimes the fly. Wearing straight leg jeans were actually banned in some schools in the 1950s, and until well into the 1960s, girls were not allowed to wear pants to school at all, let alone denim. Back in the late 70s and early 80s, when designer jeans were all the rage, I may have had a pair of Sassoon jeans. I suspect I wore them a lot because I didn't own 20 or 30 odd pair of jeans like I do now. Calvin Klein, Sergio Valente, Jordache. Oh, how every girl wanted a pair of designer jeans. I also went through a phase where I sewed the legs of my Levi's jeans to make them tapered, like really narrow down on the calf and the ankle. This was the mid 80s. Why did I do that? I have no idea. 80s fashions were kind of ugly in general. Acid wash jeans and over-dyed denim. Those pleated jeans, like with the high waist that folded over. What the fuck was that? No one, and I mean no one looked good in pleated denim. Later in the mid 80s, I had two denim items that I was crazy about, and I'm going to try to replicate those. A friend from college had a friend who knew how to sew, so I gave her two pairs of jeans. I think they were maybe Lee, and she made me two denim skirts. A shorter, like mini skirt, and then a longer one that I fucking adored. I threw it in a bathtub and then like threw bleach on top of it, so it had this funky bleaching, and the bleach degraded the denim so that there were all these like rips and frays and holes. I just loved it. It was so cool. I thought I was the coolest fucking hippie when I wore that skirt with my gladiator sandals and smoking my Camels or my Marlboro Lights or whatever with my sassy attitude. Those were the days, the height of my early deadhead years. For a portion of the early 90s, I spent a good amount of time wearing my Canadian tuxedo, jeans and a denim shirt. I might even have worn a bolo tie. My go-to jeans were men's that I got in the men's department of the department store, Levi's Buttonfly 501. I got the smallest waist size I could find and the shortest inseam. The thing about jeans a long time ago, and these 501s in particular, was that there was no stretch. There was no Lycra or elastane. They were 100% denim. And that buttonfly was a bitch to undo until the jeans had been worn and washed about a million times. Unbuttoning that fly was particularly trying when, you had to go to the bathroom. And I infamously have a tiny bladder, so I always had to go. But it didn't matter because those were the jeans I had to have. Then there was a time in the early 2010s when I was super thin, and Lucky Brand baby boot jeans were what I wore. In Lucky Brand jeans, you want to size down because they have that stretch and they stretch out. So sizing down is a must, or, after you have them on for a half an hour, they're falling off. Putting a pair on for the first time and wriggling into them before they stretched was always an interesting endeavor. But once they were on, the fit was superb. There's a funny and relatable scene in my favorite movie, Dazed and Confused, when a group of girls are getting ready for their night out at the Moon Tower party. One of the girls used pliers to zip up her friend's tight stovepipe jeans, and she was laying on the floor. The best jeans, though, are tight and low slung, as worn so sexily by Robert Plant. In case you missed it, I will try to post a picture. Iggy Pop wore tight jeans, as did Lemmy. The most famous Rockstar jeans just might be on the cover of the Rolling Stones Sticky Finger album. Got to talk about leather pants. I have been inspired by looking at literally hundreds of photos of Ben Orr to talk about and think about leather pants. I was so moved by wanting to be a rock star in my own mind that I purchased both a guitar and a pair of leather pants. Wearing my pants while playing my guitar made me feel way cooler than I actually am. Um, just for laughs. Here's my repertoire so far when I wear my leather pants. Hang On Sloopy, Fox on the Run, Time of the Season, Bang a Gong, Lust for Life, London Calling. Yeah, none of them are very difficult, but that doesn't mean I can play them well. Um, Tom Petty, Change of Heart. I play that really poorly. Do Ya by ELO, Orange Crush, REM, Can't Explain, also very poorly. I recently added the song Low by Cracker. Love that song. And I've tried to figure out It's All I Can Do, Just What I Needed, and Bye Bye Love by my favorite band, but they are so completely out of my league, it's laughable. I basically just play the same chords over and over again. So yeah, I'm a rock star in my imagination. But I digress. Let's talk about leather pants of, well, everyone in the Cars. They must have gone through about 1,000,000 pairs of them over the run of the band. Benny in red leather at the sound check for the Mountain Air Festival in 1984. And then there's Ben at those last concerts in 1987 in leather from top to bottom. Leather vest, leather jacket, those sleeves pushed up, those leather pants, and the black leather boots. Black leather, luscious leather. And David, Elliot, Greg, and Rick all had their share of leather pants at various points. A famous leather pants wearer was, of course, Jim Morrison. Oh, Jim, the Lizard King. Probably my biggest rock star crush in like 1981, 82. I was deeply into the Doors and the mythology surrounding Jim Morrison. We made up stories that he wasn't dead and that he was really living on an island somewhere. There is a conspiracy theory floating around central New York that he did not die and is actually living incognito and with a different identity in Syracuse. I read No One Here Gets Out Alive like my life depended on it. Listened deeply and intensely to all the Doors albums. There was no way I was going to not see Oliver Stone's The Doors movie when it was released in 91. I mean, Val Kilmer was Jim Morrison. He channeled him so perfectly in that film. Can't talk about leather and not discuss Elvis. Elvis in black leather pants and tight-fitted jacket in that 1968 comeback NBC television special. Yum! Singing A Little More Conversation. Oh, personally, I think this was his best look. And Elvis at his most sexy. A little older, a little more worldly, and a whole lot of great. Slash, Lenny Kravitz, Joan Jett, Billy Idol, Jani Lane, Guns N' Roses. I mean, I said Lenny Kravitz, right? And as I watched the 40th anniversary coverage of Live Aid from last summer, I was reminded of how spectacular a black leather pants-clad Bono was with that fantastic mullet, those black boots, the military jacket, holding 70,000 people in the palm of his hand at Wembley Stadium. Okay, I could go on and on and on. There are way too many instances of groovy, sexy, hot, tight, rock star denim and leather pants wearing. The point I guess I'm trying to make is that pants are important. The right pants, the tight pants. I made a plea in a blog post to anyone who is contemplating, who used to be, who dreams of being a musician. What you wear is important. It sets the tone. It sends a message. Baggy cargo shorts, no. Loose trousers, no. Anything other than black, red, or denim, no. And lycra leggings, big no. Unless you're Steven Tyler. Even today, those would be okay on him. And they were definitely okay on Diamond Dave 40 years ago. But these days, I think tight jeans or leathers would be a better choice. Pants matter.